Hello lads and ladies, and welcome back for another video on the channel. Today we are back. Sky Bet League One content returns for the 2025-2026 season. Just over 4 weeks now till the big kickoff. Hopes and dreams start again. Cities and towns start to believe once more as well. Can their team just do something special? Can they avoid the relegation? Can they go and push on from last year? Can they go and have a mix-up? Can they go and have a go at the mix-up of the playoffs? Can they get into the playoffs? Or can they go and get promoted come May next year? We are here. This is a long journey. 10 months, ups and downs of Sky Bet League 1 and Sky Bet League 2 content. So make sure you do me a huge favour, go and subscribe down below, because this season I'd love to hit 20,000 subscribers. So go down below. If you haven't already, press subscribe. It is free. Completely free. So go and subscribe. Give us a like. Let's get 150 likes on this one to start the season with a bang. Let's go. Today's video, we are going to go through every Sky Bet League One team and give their aims for the season. Now, that aim could be avoid relegation. It could be just to push on from last season. It could be to get more points than last season, to finish higher than last season. It could be to finish in the top 12, the top 10, have a go at the playoffs, get into the playoffs, or potentially go and get promoted. These are the minimum expectation you'd expect from that football club. It's a very, very competitive division. Let's get into it. AFC Wimbledon, newly promoted back in the third tier after 3 years out of it. Their aim will be simple: to stay in the division. They've already been struck with some key departures, but there's been a couple of players that have come in. So for me, any team that comes into the division from the league below, the first aim is always to stay in the division. Wimbledon's aim, just to stay up. Barnsley, who for 29 games last year were okay and in and around the top 6. They faded away and finished in the top 12 last year. They finished 12. Their aim this season is to finish inside the top 10, but have a real go at the playoffs. Their aim will be, they'll be thinking, we can get into the top 6, yes, but an improvement on last season, be a bit more competitive, don't lose as many games. They've got to be better at home. Blackpool, for me, the last 2 seasons, they've been hit and miss. There've been moments of real glamour where I thought this is a good side, and then moments where I thought they're not very good, this lot. So for me, this year, their aim is to get into the top 6. Why is that? They've got now an experienced coach, and they've brought in 4 or 5 key players. A Hickway, Horsfall, Honeyman, Ennis, Riverzoli. That is 5 really good additions. A striker that scored 7 in 19 last year, getting 2 assists. Blackpool's aim has got to be getting in the top 6. Blackpool could sign Kylian Mbappe, Lamine Yamal, and I'd still put them in the playoffs, because Blackpool don't do top 2. Blackpool get in the playoffs and win them. Bolton, their aim has got to be back into the top 6. Lost 17 times last year. Bolton fans will be on here saying our aim's got to be to win the league. We've got to get top 2. Well, that was their aim last year and the year before. How well has that gone? So for me, Bolton need to take one step at a time. Their first aim, 50 points. Their next aim, get a playoff spot confirmed and build from there. If Bolton get there, they've got a chance of getting promoted and being one of the better sides in that kind of era. You would fancy them to do something. Bradford City, a team that has come up from the league below, but I've signed well. The likes of Will Swan's come in, which I think is an excellent signing, if I do say so myself. Max Power is an experienced player as well. I think Bradford will probably finish 5 or 6 points above the relegation zone. So you want Bradford, in my opinion, their aim should be between 12th and 18th should be their aim. Graham Alexander's an experienced manager. You'd feel they're going to add a few more. For me, their aim should be 55 points. Burton Albion finish above 20th. The last 2 seasons, they finished 20th. I think their aim this season is to win a few more football matches, at home, and be a little bit boring. Don't be dramatic. Have an off-season of all the dramatics. That'll be their aim. For me, their aim should be avoid relegation, but I'm going to go for Burton Albion to finish above 20th in the league. And if their tally starts with a 1, they've either won the league or finished mid-table. Cardiff City, yeah, they'll come down with a bit of an ego because if they come from the league above, but they've come back in. They've got a reset as a football club. Birmingham came, reset. Ipswich came, reset. Took a while though, Ipswich. Sunderland took a while. These teams take a while to get going. You've got a new coach, Brian Barry Murphy, 3-year deal. For me, Cardiff City have a go at the top 6. Try and get in the top 6 should be their aim. If they try and think, we can win the league because we've been in the Championship, they won't get very far. Doncaster avoid relegation. Yep, they won the league last year. They were incredible. They could avoid relegation and then potentially try and finish the top of the clubs that came up. So Wimbledon, finish above Bradford City, finish above, those types of sides if they can. Port Vale or another one. If you can finish above them, they've already finished above 3 teams. They can finish above another one in League One. Exeter City, get above 56 points. They got 56 points last year. Obviously, their first aim is to always avoid relegation. I always worry for Exeter because they start well. The first 10 games, the next 20, 25 games are poor. The last 10, 15 games of the season, normally they're all right again. They've got to be more consistent over the course of the season. But if they can finish above like they did last year, it'll be a good season for them. Huddersfield top 6, they've signed very well so far. They signed very well in January. That meant nothing. So if they can sign a couple more, add to Lee Grant's way, the likes of Josh Feeney, I think it's a smart signing as well. It's a really good one. Joe Taylor's been in the building a little while now as well. Dion Charles. They need to get players up to shape and they need to get back to winning games of football because the place rotted out like you wouldn't believe. So top 6 for Huddersfield. Leyton Orient, they got into the playoffs last year, didn't they? And they finished in the final, lost 1-0 in a very scrappy game. But they are going to lose the likes of Jamie Donnelly, Charlie Kelman, who scored a lot of goals last season. The goalkeeper, Josh Keeley, is a big loss as well. Could lose Ethan Galbraith, but Richie Wellen signed a new deal as well. They have signed Dimitri Mitchell. Leyton Orient are a side that, yes, they lose players, but they can replace them quite well. I think if they can go for a top 10, top 12 finish again this season, it'll be another good season for them. They massively, I thought, overachieved last year, but they've got investment now. So if they get into the top 10, it'll be deemed as a good season, I think. Lincoln City, well, the way they're going, I think they're not finishing bottom. But no, I think Lincoln City's top 12. They're a progressive football club. If they can go again, finish in the top 12, it'd be another good season for them. They want more. Top 12 for Lincoln City isn't a good season anymore, really. Yes, it is a good season in context, but fans, they're starting to get a bit more. They want more. And when you want more, sometimes you can get a little bit complacent. Yes, they want a bit of excitement, but in what way? Luton Town, from St James's Park in Newcastle to St James's Park in Exeter in 2 seasons. Luton, their aim will be get promoted. It has to work this time. Again, parachute payments still being paid. There's a lot of money there for them at their disposal, but it's very difficult when you're in this lump of losing games of football. For me, top 6 should be their aim this season. They massively overachieved to get to the Premier League, but when they've been in League One flying before, they've shown how good they can be. Mansfield, the way they ended last season was atrocious, let's be honest. They did win a couple of games in the last few games, but their aim, avoid relegation. If they can do that, it's another good season for the Stags. Northampton, similar to Mansfield, they did okay under Kevin Nolan. They've signed a lot of players already and been busy. For me, their aim, avoid relegation for the 3rd season in a row in League One, will be an incredible feat. Something that they've not often done enough of. They've often got a couple of seasons gone down, had to rebuild. To do this and start to establish themselves as a League One club, be a great season. Stay up and finish better than last year. Posh gets 60 plus points because they have lost some key players in the last 12 to 18 months, like of Clark Harris, Poku, Mason Clark, Randall, Mothersill, Jones. The key players at key times for them as well. And for me, it's starting to take its fruit now a little bit, where they're starting to, you see gaps in the team a little bit, and they're replacing with players that in maybe 2 or 3 years' time will be a good. It's going to take a while for people to get back to where they were. Plymouth top 6, they've come down, they've lost the manager, they've replaced the manager, they're going to get players in, they've come down. For me, the minimum expectation when you come down should be competing, try and get inside the playoffs at the very minimum, or reset and go again and show some structure. Plymouth actually did okay in the back end of last season, and Maybe if the season went on for 2 or 3 more games, he maybe would have stayed up. Vale avoid relegation, a newly promoted side. Vale in League 2 always seems to compete, but in League 1 it always seems to be a bit messy. They're a bit in between, aren't they? But this time, they've got good enough players. They had good enough players to come up with anyway. And they've added that this season. They've added some really good quality already. Reading, for me, top 10. Change of ownership means change of kind of perspective around the football club. Last year, they felt like they overachieved and they had no expectation. When they won games, it was like, oh my God. Yes, they had a great squad, but the ownership kind of, you thought, oh, are they going to be there? Now they've got a decent ownership. They can have a little bit more of a go. Obviously, they're not going to go hell for leather and spend too much money. But for me, I think there's going to be a new level of expectation there. And if they get in the top 10 again and have a good season, have a go at it, I think that'll be deemed as okay as year 1 under the Coigs. Rotherham, top 10 again. After last season, after being a bit minging, to say the worst, if they can get a top 10 finish, win more games of football, be a bit more competitive. Last year, they won 2, then they'd go and lose 2, then they'd draw 1, and they just weren't great, were they? Win more games away from home, especially on a Saturday at 3 o'clock, because they don't often do that, do they? I think it was, 3 years without one until they played Bristol Rovers. Stevenage, top 12. Again, another season for them in League 1. If they can be competitive, they're always a club that people worry about, but always seem to do okay. And they weren't great to watch. And they'd overachieved the season before under Big Steve Evans for 38, 39, 40 games. Until the last 6, it kind of fell apart for them a little bit, where they started to drop points where they weren't early in the season, especially at home. The Burton game rings to memory. But Ravel's building a nice squad there. Top 12, up the Farley. Stockport, challenge for the top 6 again. Being around the shake-up. I'm not saying that should be their minimum aim, but if they can be between 3rd and 10th, it's another good season for them. But from January onwards, they were phenomenal. They were so consistent, even without Louis Barry. Dave Chalmers never finished outside the playoffs in a full season in his career. Will that continue? Maybe. Wigan, top 12. A bit like Rotherham. Last season was a bit like Stevenage. Didn't really score many goals, were hard to watch, weren't great. But if they can start winning more games of football, be a bit more entertaining, be a bit more on the front foot, really in teams' faces. And under Ryan Lowe, that's what I expect. Top 12 should be their aim. Top 10, if they can get, between 6th and 12th, I think it'd be a good season for Wigan. Wycombe, they've got a bit of money behind them, to be fair. Now they can have a go. Potentially sell Kone, for a decent figure as well. So I'm going to go for top 10. They lost away on the Dodds a little bit, and I'm not unsure about Dodds. But with a full season, I was unsure about Bloomfield at first. You weren't getting the results. Who knows? There is today's video. I hope you'd enjoy it. Let me know your team's aims for next season. What is the minimum that you expect? What should be your start of the season objective? And let's be honest here. Teams that will say promoted, you would probably have a look at Blackpool, Bolton, Cardiff, Huddersfield, Luton, Plymouth, Stockport, maybe would say fans-wise. To get into the top 6, to add to that, I would add Barnsley, I would add Leyton Orient, I would add Reading, Wigan, Wycombe maybe, and then outsiders like Lincoln City, those types of stuff. So there's probably about 14 teams who think we can get in the playoffs. Obviously, I'm trying to be... Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoy it. 14 teams could probably say they can finish inside that top 6. Maybe half of that will say promoted as well. Let me know your team's aims for next season. I want to know an ambitious goal and a smart goal. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time-bound. Let me know down below. Please like, please subscribe. This is your home of EFL content. And guess what? We are back. Thanks for watching.